you can't escape. Freedom isn't built on feelings. It's built on commands. Every morning, you wake up to a war, not against the world, but against the part of you that negotiates, that hesitates, that waits for permission from emotions that will never arrive. You've been taught to listen to yourself, to honor your feelings, to wait until you're ready. That teaching is a trap. Discipline isn't about feeling strong. It's about moving when you feel weak. It's not about inspiration. It's about instruction. Most people spend their lives waiting to feel motivated, waiting to feel capable, waiting to feel deserving. They die waiting. You're here because something in you knows the truth, that feelings are weather. They change. They lie. They promise tomorrow what they can't deliver today. But commands are architecture. There's a protocol buried in this book. 3 words, simple enough to remember in your weakest moment, powerful enough to rebuild your entire existence. You'll discover it at the end, but you'll practice it with every page. Because starting now, you stop asking how you feel. You start asking what you command. No feelings, just action. Why feelings fail and commands win. You are not here to feel better. You are here to act better. Understand this. Your emotional system was designed for survival, not achievement. It wants you safe, small, comfortable. It will manufacture every reason to stop, every excuse to delay, every justification to surrender. And if you negotiate with it, you lose. Feelings are software running on outdated code. They tell you to rest when you need to push, to quit when you're close, to retreat when breakthrough is one action away. This book teaches a different system, not emotional management, but command structure. You will learn 12 laws. Each one rewires how you relate to action. Each one removes another layer of internal debate. By the end, you won't need motivation. You won't wait for readiness. You won't ask yourself if you feel like it. You'll simply execute. Because discipline isn't a feeling. It's a refusal. A refusal to let emotion dictate movement. A refusal to negotiate with the version of you that wants to stay small. This is not a journey of self-love. It's a manual for self-command. What you're about to learn will feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is the price of admission to the life where you don't hope, you don't wish, you don't wait. You act. You move. You become. The 12 laws await. No feelings. Just action. Chapter 1. Refuse to negotiate with laziness. Laziness is not a feeling. It's a negotiator, and it never loses a debate. The alarm rings, and you have a decision. Get up now, or think about getting up. The moment you think, laziness speaks with perfect logic. You're tired. You didn't sleep well. 5 more minutes won't hurt. It sounds reasonable, even caring. And that's exactly why it's lethal. Laziness doesn't argue with rage. It argues with concern for your well-being, with perfectly rational explanations. And if you engage, you've already lost. How many times have you debated yourself out of action? How many workouts negotiated into rest days? How many projects delayed by perfectly reasonable explanations? Every negotiation with laziness ends the same way. Surrender dressed as wisdom. Here's what you need to understand. Laziness wins through dialogue and loses through dismissal. The non-negotiation rule is simple. If it's on the list, it happens today. No debate, no discussion, no weather report from your emotional state. Morning arrives, the alarm sounds, your body says no. Your discipline says nothing. It simply moves. 3 seconds. That's the window between the alarm and your feet on the floor. Not 3 minutes to consider. 3 seconds to act. Because laziness needs time to build its case, to find the cracks in your resolve, to remind you of yesterday's fatigue and tomorrow's promises. Remove time. Remove negotiation. This is not cruelty. It's clarity. You already know what needs to be done. The list exists. The workout is scheduled. The work is waiting. Your emotions don't need to agree. They just need to follow. Picture this. A soldier receives orders. He doesn't check how he feels about the mission. He doesn't debate the commander. He doesn't negotiate for better conditions. He executes. You are both the soldier and the commander, and the command has been given. Most people think discipline is about winning the internal argument. It's not. It's about refusing to have the argument at all. When the thought arrives, should I? The answer is automatic. It's on the list. When the feeling comes, I don't want to, the response is immediate, not relevant. You don't negotiate with laziness. You don't defeat it with logic. You bypass it with orders. This is your new standard. Scheduled means sacred. Listed means law. Not because you're motivated, but because you're commanded. You will never defeat laziness by debate, only by orders. And the first order is this: stop negotiating. Chapter 2. Move before you think. Hesitation is a factory. It manufactures resistance. Every second you wait, your mind produces another reason to stop. Another obstacle, another consideration, another fear, dressed as caution. The gap between decision and action is where dreams die. You know what you need to do, the call to make, the page to write, the conversation to start. But you pause, just for a moment, just to prepare. And in that pause, resistance multiplies. Thinking feels productive. Planning feels responsible. Preparing feels wise. But most of the time, it's procrastination in a disguise. Action has a magic that thinking can never touch. The moment you move, the entire equation changes. Momentum builds. Clarity arrives. Fear shrinks. But only after movement, never before. How long have you waited to feel ready? How many perfect moments have you spent perfecting instead of acting? Here's the truth. You will never feel completely ready. Readiness is a myth sold by fear. The writer who waits for inspiration never writes. The athlete who waits for energy never trains. The entrepreneur who waits for certainty never launches. They wait, and waiting becomes their identity. Introduce the 3-2-1 MOVE protocol. When you face a task, you have 3 seconds. Count. 3, 2, 1, move. Not think. Not evaluate. Not negotiate. Move. Stand up. Pick up the phone. Open the document. Start the timer. The action doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be immediate. Because once you're moving, everything changes. The task that felt impossible from the couch feels manageable from the desk. The workout that felt exhausting in bed feels energizing after the first rep. The project that felt overwhelming in your head feels achievable in your hands. Movement creates clarity. Stillness creates doubt. Picture someone standing at the edge of cold water. They think about entering. Imagine the shock. Debate the temperature. Negotiate with discomfort. Minutes pass. The water doesn't get warmer. Their resistance gets stronger. Now picture someone who runs and jumps in 3 seconds. No debate. The shock is the same, but it's over in moments. And they're swimming. That's the difference between thinkers and movers, between planners and builders, between people who dream and people who do. You've spent enough time thinking. The task you're avoiding right now, you know the one, doesn't need more consideration. It needs action. Fast action. Thoughtless action. Not reckless, immediate. Because speed kills excuses. Every excuse needs time to develop. Rip away the time. When the moment comes, count down. 3, 2, 1, and move your body before your mind can object. This is not impulsivity. It's execution. You've already decided what matters. The list exists. The plan is clear. Now remove the gap where hesitation lives. Action first. Feelings second. Results always. Speed kills excuses. Chapter 3. Control your thoughts or be controlled. Your mind is not your friend. It's a narrator. And most of the time, it's lying. Every thought feels true. Every fear feels valid. Every doubt feels like wisdom. But feelings of truth aren't truth. The voice in your head will tell you you're not ready, that you're not capable, that you should wait, that you should quit. And if you believe it, it becomes your reality. Not because it was true, but because you obeyed it. Most people lose the war for discipline in their own heads. They don't fail because the task is too hard. They fail because their thoughts convinced them it was impossible. Thoughts create feelings. Feelings drive behavior. Behavior becomes identity. Control the thought. Control everything. But here's the problem. Most people try to argue with negative thoughts. They debate them, challenge their validity, search for evidence, and the thought gets stronger. Because attention is fuel, even negative attention. The more you engage with a thought, the deeper it roots. Here's a better system in 3 steps. Catch, challenge, command. First, catch the thought the moment it arrives. I'm too tired. I can't do this. I'll start tomorrow. Don't let it run unchecked. Name it immediately. Second, challenge it with one question. Is this thought helping me act? Not, is it true? Truth is irrelevant. The only question is, does this thought move me forward or hold me back? Then, command. Replace the thought with an order. I'm too tired becomes move anyway. I can't do this becomes try for 60 seconds. I'll start tomorrow becomes start now. Simple, direct, no negotiation. Your mind will resist this. It prefers the comfort of familiar narratives, even negative ones. But you are not negotiating with your mind. You're instructing it. Think of your mind as an unruly soldier. It will wander if you let it, complain if you allow it, quit if you permit it. Your job is not to agree with it. Your job is to direct it. Most people treat their minds like a democracy. Every thought gets a vote. Every fear gets a voice. Every doubt gets consideration. That's why they stay stuck. Your mind is not a debate hall. It's a command center. And you are the commander. When a thought appears that doesn't serve action, you don't explore it. You dismiss it. Noted. Irrelevant. Moving forward. This isn't suppression. It's selection. You choose which thoughts get attention, which get energy, which get power. The thoughts you feed grow. The thoughts you starve die. So stop feeding the voice that tells you to quit. Stop giving energy to the narrative of limitation. Feed the command instead. Every time your mind says, "I can't," you respond immediately, "I will." Every time it says, "Too hard," you respond, "So what?" Every time it says, "Tomorrow," you respond, "Now." This is mental hygiene, and it determines action hygiene. Because your behavior is downstream from your thoughts. You will never act with discipline if your mind runs wild with doubt. Control the narrative. Control the action. Control the life. Your mind is not a debate hall. It's a command center. And starting now, you command it. Chapter 4. Force. Repetition. Until it becomes identity. Discipline is not a decision you make once. It's a behavior you repeat until it becomes who you are. You don't decide to be disciplined. You act disciplined until deciding is no longer required. Every action carves a neural pathway. Repeat it. The pathway deepens. Repeat it enough. The pathway becomes a highway. Automatic, effortless, identity. The first time you do anything, it's hard. Your brain resists. Your body hesitates. Everything in you wants to return to the familiar. But you push through. The second time is slightly easier, not because you're stronger, but because your brain recognizes the pattern. The 10th time, there's less resistance. The 30th time, it's routine. The 60th time, it's who you are. This is the 30-60 rule. 30 days to build a routine, 60 days to build an identity. Most people quit at day 3. They expect transformation immediately. They want the new behavior to feel natural right away. It won't. Change is uncomfortable. Repetition is boring. Consistency is unglamorous. But it's the only path. You cannot think your way into a new identity. You cannot wish yourself into discipline. You must repeat the behavior until your brain accepts it as normal. Until your body expects it. Until your life requires it. How many times have you started strong? Day 1. Perfect. Day 2. Solid. Day 3. Good enough. Day 4. Missed. and it dies there. Because you didn't understand the rule. The first 30 days aren't about perfection. They're about repetition. You're not trying to do it well. You're trying to do it consistently. Even poorly done counts. Even hardly done counts. Even half done counts. As long as it's done. Because your brain doesn't measure quality in the beginning. It measures frequency. 5 minutes of writing every day builds the writer identity faster than 1 perfect hour per week. 10 push-ups daily builds the athlete identity faster than 1 exhausting workout per month. Consistency beats intensity. Repetition beats motivation. You're building a pattern, and patterns require repetition, not perfection. At first, you carry the habit. It's heavy. It's awkward. It feels forced. You have to remember. You have to push. You have to force. But somewhere around day 30, something shifts. The habit starts carrying itself. You stop thinking about it. You stop dreading it. You just do it. And by day 60, the habit carries you. You don't go to the gym because you should. You go because that's what you do. You don't write because it's on the list. You write because you're a writer. Identity isn't declared. It's constructed, 1 repetition at a time. Most people try to change their identity with decisions. From now on, I'm disciplined. Starting today, I'm different. Words without repetition are fantasies. You become what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally decide. So stop waiting for the moment you feel like a disciplined person. Start acting like one. Repeat the action. Let the identity follow. The person you want to be is built in the actions you take today and tomorrow and the day after. Not once. Not when you feel like it. Not when it's convenient. Daily. Regardless. Relentlessly. At first, you carry the habit. Then the habit carries you. Chapter 5. Command yourself with precision. Vague self-talk creates vague results. I should work out more. I need to be productive. I want to get better. These aren't commands. They're wishes. And wishes change nothing. Your brain needs specificity. It needs clarity. It needs orders it can execute, not someday, but now. Most people fail not because they lack desire. They fail because they lack direction. They want to be disciplined, but they don't command themselves to do the specific actions discipline requires. There's a massive difference between I should exercise and do 20 push-ups now. One is a thought. The other is an instruction. Thoughts are passive. Instructions are active. and your brain responds to instructions. When you say, "I need to write more," your brain nods and does nothing. The statement is too abstract, too general, too easy to postpone. When you say, "Write 200 words in the next 15 minutes," your brain has a mission. Clear, measurable, immediate. Introduce the command board. Every morning, before you do anything else, write 3 commands. Not goals, not intentions. Commands. Specific actions you will complete today. Not be productive, finish the report by 11 a.m. Not eat better, no sugar until 6 p.m. Not work on the project, write 500 words of Chapter 2. Each command must have 3 qualities. It's specific, it's measurable, and it's time-bound. Without these, it's not a command. It's a hope. And you don't operate on hope anymore. Write the 3 commands. Put them somewhere visible. A note card, your phone background, a sticky note on your monitor. These are your orders for the day. Not suggestions, not ideas. Orders. And you execute them. The beauty of precision is it removes interpretation. There's no debate about whether you did it. Either you wrote 500 words or you didn't. Either you finished the report by 11 a.m. or you didn't. Either you avoided sugar until 6 p.m. or you didn't. Clear, binary, done or not done. This removes the gray area where excuses live. When your command is vague, you can always rationalize partial effort as success. I was productive can mean anything. I worked on my health can mean anything. But write 500 words means one thing. And you either did it or you failed. That clarity is power. Most people avoid precision because it creates accountability. Vague goals give you room to hide. Specific commands expose you. Good. You're not here to hide. You're here to execute. Every day, 3 commands. Clear, specific, non-negotiable. Don't ask yourself if you feel like doing them. Don't debate their importance. Don't negotiate their timing. You wrote them. You execute them. Because you don't ask. You instruct. And starting now, you instruct with precision. Interlude 1. The physics of comfort. Comfort is not a place. It's a force. And it expands like fog, slowly, silently, suffocating everything it touches. At first, comfort seems harmless. Rest feels earned. Ease feels deserved. Relief feels necessary. But comfort doesn't stop at recovery. It spreads. One day off becomes 2. One compromise becomes a pattern. One exception becomes the rule. And before you realize it, you're not resting. You're hiding. Comfort whispers. It never shouts. It never demands. It simply suggests, you've done enough. You deserve this. Tomorrow is soon enough. And you nod, because comfort feels like wisdom. But it's sedation. The life you want exists on the other side of discomfort. Every single time. No exceptions. Discipline doesn't live in the comfortable choice. It lives in the harder one. And the harder one is always available. Right now, this moment, this decision. You can choose ease, or you can choose growth. Comfort or progress. Relief or results. Fog or clarity. Discipline over emotion. Chapter 6. Use pressure to beat comfort. Comfort is not defeated by willpower. It's defeated by structure. Left to your own devices, you will drift toward ease. It's not weakness. It's physics. Water flows downhill. Heat spreads to cold. Energy moves toward rest. Without pressure, you will default to comfort. That's why you need to manufacture pressure. Not stress, not panic. Pressure. Intentional, strategic, unavoidable. Most people wait for pressure to arrive naturally. A deadline imposed by someone else. A crisis that forces action. A consequence that can't be ignored. And then they move. But why wait? Why give control of your urgency to external circumstances? You can create pressure right now. The manufactured pressure system has 3 components. First, accountability. Tell someone what you're going to do. Make it specific. Make it public. Not to seek praise, but to create consequence. The moment another person knows your commitment, the cost of failure increases. You're no longer just disappointing yourself. You're breaking your word. That pressure moves you. Second, deadlines. Self-imposed, non-negotiable. Not, I'll finish this soon. I'll finish this by Friday at 3 p.m. Write it down. Set an alarm. Treat it like a meeting with someone you can't cancel on. That someone is you. Third, stakes. Attach real consequence to failure. If you don't complete the task, you lose something. Money, time, a reward. Make it hurt enough to matter. Not enough to break you, enough to move you. Some people donate money to a cause they hate if they fail. Some people give up a pleasure they love. Some people add an additional hard task. The specifics don't matter. The consequence does. Because pressure is not pain. It's structure. It removes the option to drift. It forces you to choose, execute, or accept the consequence. And when the choice is that clear, execution wins. Think about how you behave when someone else sets the deadline. When your boss says, "I need this by Monday." When the client says, "We launch on Friday." When the exam is scheduled, you find time. You find energy. You find a way. Not because you suddenly became more capable, but because the pressure was real. Now impose that same pressure on yourself. Don't wait for life to force you. Force yourself first. Create accountability. Set deadlines. Attach stakes. And watch how quickly comfort loses its grip. Most people think they lack discipline. They don't. They lack structure. Discipline thrives in constraint. It suffocates in freedom. Too many options creates paralysis. Too much time creates procrastination. Too little consequence creates comfort. But pressure? Pressure creates movement. You don't need to feel motivated when the deadline is real. You don't need to feel ready when the stakes are high. You just move, because the alternative is worse. Stop waiting for external pressure. Build it yourself. Make your commitments public. Make your deadlines real. Make your consequences matter. Pressure is not pain. It's structure. And structure is freedom. Chapter 7. Choose effort over relief. There are two kinds of pain. The pain that grows you and the pain that shrinks you. Effort hurts. Discipline hurts. Pushing through resistance hurts. But that pain ends and it leaves something behind. Strength, skill, progress. Regret also hurts. Quitting hurts. Watching yourself fail hurts. But that pain doesn't end. It compounds. It echoes. It haunts. You get to choose which pain you carry. Most people choose relief in the moment. They stop at 90%. They quit when it gets hard. They choose the easier path. And they think they're avoiding pain. They're not. They're just postponing it. The relief you feel when you quit is temporary. The regret you feel when you realize what you gave up is permanent. Every time you stop early, you teach yourself that discomfort is the limit, that when things get hard, you fold. And that lesson applies everywhere. The workout you cut short, the project you abandoned, the conversation you avoided, the goal you lowered. Each one tells you the same story. I'm someone who stops when it's uncomfortable. And eventually, that becomes your identity. Introduce the finish line rule. Never stop at 90%. You're tired. You've done most of the work. Close enough feels good enough. It's not. Because the last 10% is where transformation happens. The final rep builds the muscle. The last page finishes the chapter. The difficult conversation creates the breakthrough. 90% gets you the same result as 0%. Incomplete. And incomplete teaches you nothing except how to quit. Here's what finishing teaches you. You're capable of more than you think. Every time you push through the moment you want to stop, you expand your capacity. Not by a lot, by a little. But those little expansions compound. 6 months of finishing looks like discipline. 6 months of stopping at 90% looks like wasted potential. The gap between the two is tiny in each moment, enormous over time. You know the feeling. The moment when your body says stop. When your mind says good enough. When relief is right there. Waiting. That moment is a test. And you pass it by choosing effort over relief. One more rep. One more page. One more minute. Not because you feel like it, but because finishing is your standard. Most people live their lives in the gray zone. They start strong. They fade in the middle. They quit near the end. And they wonder why nothing sticks. It's because they never finish. They never prove to themselves they can. So they don't. But you're different now. You don't stop at tired. You don't stop at good enough. You stop at done. And done means complete. Not almost, not mostly, but complete. Effort fades. Regret lasts. Choose the pain that ends. Choose effort. Choose finishing. Chapter 8. Fight impulses with long-term pain. An impulse is a thief. It steals your future to pay for your present. The urge to scroll instead of work. The pull toward junk food instead of discipline. The desire to sleep in instead of train. Every impulse offers the same deal. Feel good now, pay later. And the price is always higher than you think. Most people fight impulses with willpower in the moment. They try to resist the urge when it's strongest. They white-knuckle through temptation. And sometimes it works. Often it doesn't. Because willpower is finite, and impulses are patient. They wait until you're tired, until you're stressed, until your defenses are down. And then they strike. Here's a better weapon: long-term pain. Introduce the future mirror. When the impulse arrives, don't fight it directly. Project forward. Not 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 months. See yourself after you surrender to the impulse. The wasted afternoon, the bloated guilt, the broken streak, the disappointed reflection. Feel that future pain now. Make it vivid. Make it real. Because impulses sell fantasy. They show you the pleasure and hide the cost. The future mirror reveals the full transaction. You want to skip the workout? Fine. But see yourself tonight, disappointed, weaker, one more day of momentum lost. You want the comfort food? Okay. But feel yourself an hour later, sluggish, regretful, further from your goal. You want to waste the morning? Go ahead. But see yourself at noon, rushed, behind, stressed by your own choice. The impulse doesn't look as appealing when you see the whole picture. Most people only see the immediate payoff. They don't calculate the compound cost. One skipped workout is just one workout, unless it's the start of a pattern. Then it's the beginning of atrophy. One indulgence is just one meal, unless it's the crack in your discipline. Then it's the collapse of your standard. One wasted morning is just a few hours, unless it's the day you needed to build momentum. Then it's the week that never recovered. Impulses are thieves. They steal compound interest from your future, and you don't negotiate with thieves. When the urge arrives, pause for 10 seconds. Use the future mirror. See through the cost clearly. And then choose, not based on what feels good now, but based on who you're becoming. The person you want to be doesn't surrender to impulses. They don't trade their future for temporary relief. They see the trap, and they walk past it. Every time you resist an impulse, you do two things. You move closer to your goal, and you prove to yourself you can. That second part matters more, because discipline is not about never feeling tempted. It's about choosing correctly when you are. Impulses will come daily, hourly, constantly. Your job is not to eliminate them. Your job is to see them clearly. And once you see them clearly, they lose their power. Impulses are thieves. Don't negotiate. Interlude 2. Busy versus effective. Motion is not progress. You can be busy all day and achieve nothing. You can be in constant movement and go nowhere. Busy is easy. Busy feels productive. Busy gives you permission to feel accomplished. But busy is often a disguise for avoidance, for distraction, for fear of the work that actually matters. The emails that never end. The meetings that accomplish nothing. The tasks that feel urgent but aren't important. You can spend your entire life busy and arrive at the end with nothing built. Because busy measures activity. Effective measures outcome. Busy people do many things. Effective people do the right things. There's a difference between being in motion and moving forward. Discipline without direction is self-destruction. You can force yourself to work 16 hours a day, but if those hours don't align with what matters, you're just exhausting yourself. Direction first. Discipline second. Know what you're building. Then build it relentlessly. Not everything. The right things. Discipline over emotion. Chapter 9. Direct energy. Only to what matters. You have limited energy and unlimited tasks. If you try to do everything, you accomplish nothing. Most people scatter their effort across 100 priorities. They respond to every message, attend every meeting, chase every opportunity. And they wonder why nothing significant gets built. Because significance requires concentration. And concentration requires sacrifice. The sacrifice of the good for the essential. Introduce the top 3 before anything rule. Every day, identify 3 things that actually move the needle. Not the most urgent, not the loudest, the most important. The tasks that, if completed, would make today a success, even if nothing else gets done. Write them down. Protect them fiercely. These 3 tasks are sacred. They get your peak energy, your best hours, your full focus. Everything else is secondary. Most people do the opposite. They handle the easy tasks first. The emails, the messages, the small requests. And by the time they get to the important work, they're drained. So the important work gets their weakest effort, or none at all. And they stay busy, but unproductive. Teach peak hour protection. You have a window every day when your mind is sharpest. For most people, it's morning. For some, it's late night. Identify yours. That window is sacred. It belongs to your top 3. Not email, not meetings, not distractions, deep work only. Protect those hours like your life depends on them, because your goals do. The person who guards their peak hours builds empires. The person who gives them away stays stuck. Most people let their time be dictated by other people's priorities. They respond to whoever yells loudest. They work on whatever appears most urgent. And urgency always wins over importance until you decide otherwise. You decide what gets your energy. You decide what gets your focus. You decide what matters. And once you decide, you protect it. Not everything is worth doing. Not everything is worth doing well. Not everything is worth doing now. Most tasks are noise. They feel important because they demand attention. But attention is not the same as importance. Filter ruthlessly. Ask one question. Does this move me toward my goal? If yes, consider it. If no, ignore it. No guilt, no explanation, no apology. Your time is your life, and your life is too valuable to spend on things that don't matter. 3 tasks. Peak hours. Full focus. That's the system. And when you follow it, everything changes. Because you're no longer busy, you're effective. You're no longer scattered, you're concentrated. You're no longer reactive, you're intentional. Most people work hard. Few people work smart. You're about to become both. You are no longer busy. You are precise. Chapter 10. Act without motivation. Motivation is emotional dependency, and dependencies make you weak. When you need motivation to act, you give control to something unreliable, a feeling that comes and goes, a mood that shifts with sleep, with weather, with nothing at all. People who wait for motivation wait forever. Because motivation is a visitor. It arrives unannounced. It leaves without warning. And if your action depends on its presence, your action becomes sporadic, inconsistent, ultimately worthless. The truth. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. You don't feel like working out, then work out. You work out, then feel motivated. You don't wait to feel inspired, then write. You write, then inspiration arrives. Action first, feeling second, always. Most people have it backwards. They treat motivation as the fuel. It's not. It's the exhaust, the byproduct of movement, not the cause of it. So stop waiting. Introduce the decision-action gap. The moment you decide something needs to be done, you have 5 seconds. 5 seconds to move your body toward action, not 5 minutes to build motivation. 5 seconds to begin. Stand up. Open the laptop. Pick up the weight. Dial the number. Some physical movement that commits you. Because once you start, continuing is easy. It's the starting that kills most people. And starting doesn't require motivation. It requires a decision followed immediately by movement. 5 seconds. Count down if you need to. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move. This removes the gap where hesitation lives, where motivation is supposed to arrive. That gap is a trap. You've been taught to wait for readiness, to honor your feelings, to respect your emotional state. That teaching keeps you weak, because your emotional state is never going to consistently align with what needs to be done. Some days, you'll feel great. Most days, you'll feel neutral. Many days, you'll feel terrible. And if you only act when you feel great, you'll accomplish nothing. Discipline means acting regardless, not when you feel motivated, but when it's time. Not when you feel strong, but when it's scheduled. Not when you feel inspired, but when it's required. Your calendar doesn't care how you feel. Your goals don't care how you feel. Your future self doesn't care how you feel. They care what you do. So do it. Motivation is a luxury. Action is a necessity. And you don't build a life on luxuries. Most people treat their discipline like a car that needs fuel before it can move. They wait for the motivation to fill the tank. You're not a car. You're a soldier. You don't need fuel. You need orders. And you've already given them. The workout at 6 a.m. The writing session at noon. The uncomfortable conversation tonight. These aren't suggestions waiting for motivation to approve them. They're commands waiting for execution. Your emotions don't get a vote. They just come along for the ride. And after a few weeks of this, something interesting happens. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop checking how you feel. You just act. Because that's who you are now. Someone who acts. Not someone who feels, then acts. But someone who acts, then feels. The order matters. Motivation is a drug. And like any drug, the more you depend on it, the more you need it, and the less reliable it becomes. Break the dependency. Act because it's required, not because it feels right. Act because it's scheduled, not because you're inspired. Act because you commanded yourself, not because you want to. This is freedom, not from discipline, but from emotion. You're no longer held hostage by your feelings. You're no longer waiting for permission from your mood. You act, you move, you execute every single day, regardless of how you feel. Because you understand now. You act because it's required, not because it feels right. Chapter 11. Engineer your environment. Your environment is not neutral. It's either pushing you forward or pulling you back. Every single moment. The apps on your phone, the food in your kitchen, the people in your life, the layout of your workspace. Each one is voting on who you become. Most people try to build discipline in environments designed for distraction. They try to eat healthy with junk food in the cupboard. They try to focus with notifications enabled. They try to be productive in spaces built for comfort. And they wonder why willpower isn't enough. Because willpower is expensive. Environment is automatic. Every time you have to resist temptation, you drain your willpower. Every time you have to choose the hard option, you spend energy. But if the environment makes the hard option easy and the easy option hard, you don't need willpower. You just follow the path of least resistance. And the path leads to discipline. introduce friction. Design. Make bad hard to start. Make good easy to start. You want to stop scrolling? Delete the apps. Not just move them, delete them. Make access require effort. Log in on a browser. Type the URL. Enter credentials. That friction is enough. Most impulses die when they meet resistance. You want to eat healthy? Don't rely on willpower at 9 p.m. when you're tired. Remove the junk food at 9 a.m. when you're strong. If it's not in the house, you can't eat it. The decision is made once, not every time hunger arrives. You want to work out? Don't debate it in the morning. Sleep in your workout clothes. Put your shoes by the bed. Make starting require one action instead of 10. Each barrier you remove is one less decision your discipline has to make. Your brain will always choose the path of least resistance. That's not weakness, that's efficiency. So engineer the path. Make the productive choice the easy choice. Make the destructive choice the hard choice. Most people design their lives backwards. Netflix, 1 click. Workout, 10 decisions. Reading, find the book, find time, find focus. Scrolling, already in your hand. Of course they scroll. Redesign it. Phone in another room after 8 p.m. Book on your pillow. Junk food requires a trip to the store. Healthy food visible in the fridge. Productive work. 1 click to open. Social media, deleted or logged out. This isn't about perfection. It's about design. Your space should command you forward, not tempt you, not test you, but command you. Walk into your workspace. What do you see? What's within arm's reach? If the answer includes distractions, you're fighting yourself. Remove them. Create a space where the only easy option is the productive option. This applies to people too. The people you spend time with are designing you. Their standards become yours. Their habits influence yours. Their conversations shape your thinking. You can force yourself to be disciplined while surrounded by people who aren't, but it's expensive. Much cheaper to engineer your social environment. Spend time with people who are already where you want to be. Not to use them, but to absorb the standard. When discipline is normal in your environment, it becomes normal for you. When excellence is expected around you, you expect it from yourself. This is not about blaming your environment. It's about designing it. You have more control than you think. Your phone, you control it. Your space, you control it. Your schedule, you control it. Your relationships, you control them. Stop fighting against your environment. Engineer it to serve you. Make good automatic. Make bad difficult. and watch how much easier discipline becomes. Your space should command you forward. Interlude 3. The math of compounding. 1% better. Every day doesn't sound like much. It feels insignificant in the moment. But math doesn't care about feelings. 1% daily improvement compounds to 37 times better in a year. Not 365%, but 3,700%. The same math works in reverse. 1% worse every day. One small compromise.